We are back together again. The summer season has officially come to an end. Labor Day is past, and we are now entering the opening days of pumpkin spice season. Not a liturgical season of the year, but one that seems to infect everything. The heat of summer will come and go, and the coolness of the fall season will keep trying to establish a foothold. Here in worship, we return to the weekly narrative lectionary, that prescribed series of readings that ask us to examine some of the stories from the Old and New Testaments. In the fall and right through Christmas, we spend our time in the Old Testament. From Christmas through Pentecost, we focus on stories from the New Testament. And what more appropriate place to start than in the beginning? We're in Genesis this morning, focusing our attention on the second and the much older story of creation. Exactly how old this story is would be hard to say. We know that it is a story that comes from before the exile into Babylon. We know that it does not have features of the first story. In fact, the story before us this morning begins with a misty primordial world in which God creates a garden in which to place the human creature. In Genesis 1, humankind is the crowning achievement of creation. In Genesis 2, humankind is the beginning of creation. In Genesis 1, all the creatures are created before the human being. In Genesis 2, the human creature is created, and then the animals. Which story is right and which story is wrong? That's a pointless question. What we want to ask of this story before us this morning is, what is it trying to tell us? What is the point of this story, and why does it matter? What are the people of God saying about God, and what is God trying to tell us through their words? Then the Lord God said, "It is not good that the man, the human creature, should be alone." Unlike the first story, which is about being fruitful and multiplying and filling the earth and subduing it, the second story of creation seems to be about companionship. The animals and the birds are created to be the human's companion. But there was something missing. While the animals and birds were wonderful and friendly and company, there was still something missing. The animals were not enough like the human. So God creates another human, somewhat different from the first, and the human is happy. The human is fulfilled. The human is content. It is not good that the human creature should be alone. You and I are living in the loneliest society in history. Just think about that. People are more lonely today than ever before, and that is in spite of the incredible technology at our disposal that makes communication with another easier than ever. The rate of anxiety and depression has steadily increased over the past 40 years. The rate of suicide is now higher than ever before, and that excludes deaths from opioids. 40 million adults in the United States suffer from anxiety disorders, comprising 18.1% of the population, and the evidence for a connection between anxiety and depression is mounting. The cause of our loneliness, our anxiety, and depression is threefold. A percentage of the population experiences these challenges because they are genetically predisposed to them. Some experience these challenges because of psychological causes, trauma from childhood and youth, abuse, more. And significantly, the third reason we face these challenges are social issues. These concern the way we live together. Now, I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist, nor do I play one on television, so I really can't comment on the first two of the threefold causes of loneliness, anxiety, and depression. But the social causes seem to speak to me, and I believe they will speak to you. How have we changed the way we live together? Well, we've become disconnected from work that gives us meaning and purpose. We've become disconnected from meaningful values. We focus on materialism and doing things purely for the outward reward instead of the inward reward. As one author put it, our square footage has gotten bigger and our circle of friends has gotten smaller. We've become disconnected from respect. We've come to believe that status, celebrity, and wealth are what denotes success in our society. And anxiety over the loss of financial security and status are often the underlying constant stress in people. We've become disconnected from the natural world. When we spend time outdoors in that world of God's creation, we feel small and not big. And we feel that we ourselves are part of something much bigger than ourselves. Studies have shown that rates of depression are reduced dramatically when exercising in the natural world and spending time outdoors. We often feel more alive when we're outside. We've become disconnected from hope for a better future. Polls tell us that we are now living in a time when adults do not believe that their children will inherit a better world than they did. Finally, we've become disconnected from each other. Years ago, the question was asked in one study, how many friends do you have that you could call in a time of crisis? The most common answer was 5. That same question has been asked in a contemporary study. How many friends do you have you could call in a time of crisis? And the answer is 0. No one to call in an emergency or a crisis. We may have 15,000 friends on Facebook, and we may have 6 million followers on Twitter, but we have no one to call when life turns sour. It is not good that the human creature should be alone. God saw that we are not good when we are alone. We cannot become what God created us to be when we are alone. We have no hope of wholeness when we are alone. But wait a minute, some of you are thinking, that's not us. We're not anxious. We're not depressed. We're church people. I wish that were true. But the evidence runs contrary. We are those people. but we have also been sent by Jesus Christ to others just like us, to people who are disconnected from meaning in their work and in their lives, to those who are searching for meaningful values, to those who are looking for respect and the affirmation of their dignity, to those who are searching for hope and a better tomorrow, to those who are longing for a connection with other people. To them, Jesus commissions us to go to them, not wait for them, to go to them and offer a healing hand, a caring heart, and an open mind. It is not good that the human creature should be alone. If all the experts are right, if all the studies are true, if all the books are giving it to us with clarity and veracity, then we are living in lonely times, and it is not good that the human creature should be alone. We need face-to-face and heart-to-heart time with others. We need all the sacred connections of life. We need time in meaningful and rewarding work. We need a set of relevant and substantial values that can serve as our North Star. We need the respect of others and the affirmation of our dignity and our worth. We need hope and aspirations and dreams. We need time in the mystery and wonder of the world around us. And we need each other. You may not quite believe it this way, but humor me. Eons ago, when our first ancestors were scratching out an existence on the plains and savannas of Africa, how do you suppose they climbed to the top of the evolutionary ladder? Was it by their brute strength? Was it by their cunning? No. Our ancestors, ancient as they were, discovered that when they banded together, when they shared power, when they cared for the well-beings of others, when they formed tribes and adopted common objectives, they thrived. In our world today, we are doing our very best to disband our tribes and destroy our communities. We practice division instead of reconnection. We look for reasons to detach, to disengage, to dissociate. And then we all sit back and we wonder why we're miserable. It is not good for the human creature to be alone. Put it a different way. If you want to be happy together for now and evermore. Amen.